Hello guys, welcome to another video on Cubologix. Today I am teaching how to do the third layer on a 3x3 Rubik's Cube. As I said, in this video I am teaching how to solve the third layer on a Rubik's Cube. First, before knowing how to solve the third layer, you have to know how to solve the first two layers. If you don't know how to solve the first two layers, you can check out the other videos in our channel before coming to this video so that you can understand what's going on in this video. So the first step in solving the third layer is making the L part, which has like one formula, basically L here. The second step is matching these parts, the edges, to the corresponding colors, and I'll just do it and show you. Now you can see that every single edge is matched to its respective colors. The next step is making sure the corners are in the right places. So for example, this corner here, keep in the right place. So I'll just show you the whole part. Now you can see that every single corner is in the right place, but just twist it around. And then the last step is permutating these corners. So I'll just do that too. And now the whole cube is solved. Today I'm teaching you all these steps, so you don't have to worry. I'll go by each part slowly and you need to understand. So the first step in solving the third layer is, wait, the cube is scrambled. I'm going to solve it quick. Okay, now you see that this first layers are solved and we're going to the third layer. The first part in the third layer is between which case you have. So there's going to be three main cases in the top layer while solving the cross. The first one is when you have an L like this. Second one is you have a bar, a horizontal bar. The third one is only a dot in the middle. I'm teaching all these cases right now. So the first case was an L like this, and this looks like an L. So like align the cube in such a way that you get reverse L. Like this is a reverse L right now. And so now you have to do a formula. The formula is F R U R prime U prime F prime. Now you get a bar. This is second case. The second case when you get a bar. So when you get a bar, make sure that the bar is aligned in a horizontal way like this and not like this. So just turn the top layer so that's in a horizontal way. And do the same formula again. The formula goes like this: F R U R prime U prime. Do an F prime. Now you see that you have a cross here. And then there's another case. The last case in solving the cross is when you have a dot like this. And when you have a dot, you can align this any way you want. It's the same way you get. The next step is the same thing you get. So to the formula, which I already told you: F R U R prime U prime and F prime. And now you get an L case, and for the L case make sure it's in a reverse L part and do the formula again: F R U R prime U prime F prime. Now you get a bar, again the formula F R U R prime U prime F prime. Now the cross is solved. The second step in solving the third layer is matching these edges right here. So the edges should be matched like this. There's a blue color here, it's matched respective to its blue center. This is not matched, this is not matched, this is not matched. So the first step is to turn the top layer like in a U or a U prime move so that two of them are matching. They should be adjacent to each other. So like this, there's only one matching here. You can check the whole cube around now. I'm turning the top, doing a U move now. This is not matching here, this is not matching, this is matching, and this one is matching. So we have two matching right now, and both them are adjacent to each other. So the first step is make sure that one of them is in your back, the back part here, and one of them is to your right. So this to your back and this to your right, and you have to do a formula. The formula is R U R prime U prime R U2 R prime U prime. Now you see that every single edge is solved right here now. There's going to be one case, it's an odd case right here, when you have two of them matching but they are opposite to each other. So there's one matching here and there's one matching here. In any way you turn the cube, another U move, none of them are matching right here, and another U move. Now you see that only 2 of them are matching. Now like this, you can do the formula I told you before anywhere you want, irrespective of where it is. So the formula is R U R prime U prime R U2 R prime U prime. Now after doing this, you'll have at least 2 of them matching now, adjacent to each other. So turn the cube around. You have 2 of them matching now. When 2 of them matching, one of them to your back, one of them to your right, and do the formula again. R U R prime U prime R U2 R prime U prime. And now you see that every single edge is matched to its respective colors right here. The last step installing the last layer on a 3x3 Rubik's Cube is orienting the corners so that they are exactly matched to the pieces and they're oriented properly and the whole cube is solved. So the first step is to look for a piece which is exactly in the right place and flipped correctly so that it's matching its colors. For example, take this piece. You can see that it's in the right place but it's not oriented properly so that it's matched with its colors. But in another case, this piece, it is flipped correctly in the right place and is matching with its colors. When you find one of these pieces, make sure to keep this piece to your left and do this formula. R prime D R D. Now you see that nothing happened. You have to do this step till this corner right here goes in the right place and is flipped properly. So the formula again, R prime D prime R D. It's not flipped right. Again, R prime D prime R D. It's not in the right place. R prime D prime R D. Now you can see that this corner is exactly matched like this piece. So when you get this matched like this, then do a U move. Right, a U move. Remember, this step is very important. You have to do a U move after solving each corner or the whole cube you can mess up again and just do it again. So remember, after solving a corner, do a U move. Again do this formula. The formula is D R prime D prime R D. It's not matched. R prime D prime R D. No, R prime D prime R D. Not matched again. R prime D prime R D. Now the corner is solved. Now what do you have to do? You have to do a U move. Remember, this step is very important. You have to do a U move 100%. Without this, the whole cube is going to be unsolved again. So the last corner. So do a R prime D prime R D. It's not solved. R prime D prime R D. R prime D prime R D. R prime D prime R D. Now after doing this, you just do random U moves and D moves so that will be solved now. I can see the whole cube is solved. Yay, whole cube is solved right now. Now I'll just give some more cases. There's maybe one more case when there's none of them are flipped exactly right. I'll just show that right now. The next step is permuting the corners to the right places. So you should make a corner in the right place so that they should be only a corner twist away from being solved. So in a case like this part, you can see that this should be matched here. So if the cube part should be matched here, this corner should have all three centers which it's matched with. So it should, this center in this corner should have a blue part, orange part and a yellow part. But has a yellow part, but it only doesn't have an orange part and a blue part. So please check like that and keep on checking the cube till you have at least one of them solved. So take this piece. There's red, there's yellow, but it's not green, it's blue here. Again turn the cube again. By the way, you should only turn the cube, not turn the top layer. You just turn the cube so that this doesn't get messed up and it won't be hard for you to recognize the piece. So take this piece. You can see that this piece, there's a green here, it's green center here, it's matched here, orange center here and it's orange here, and a yellow center here and a yellow part here. By the way, this piece doesn't have to be exactly flush or like exactly like this. It doesn't need to be like this. So it can be like this or it can be turned around, but it have all the three centers which is matched with. So the first step is finding one of these. Now some cases you can find like none of them are matching. I'll come to that case later, but the first step, one of them is matching. So when one of them is matching, make sure that this piece which is matched in the right spot is to your left. The whole cube should be your left, and you do this formula. It's R U prime L prime U R prime U prime L prime U. Now you check the cube again. One is matched here, this is not matched, this is not matched, this is not matched. So again, make sure that this is to your right and do this formula again. And this formula can be tricky to learn, but make sure to be with me or you'll be confused a lot. So just do it while I'm doing it, so it will be easier for you to do it again. So the formula goes like this: R U prime L prime U R prime U prime L prime U. Now check the cube. This part corner is matched. This corner is matched, has orange, blue and yellow. Orange, blue, yellow. This part is right place. This corner is in right place. Now the third step is done, which is permuting the corners to right places. The last step is left is matching these corners. So that they're like this. And by the way, there's one more case which like none of them are matched. So now you can see that, take this part where none of them are matching. I'll show you the case right now. So you can see this corner is not matching to this piece where it should be. That says blue is there. There's a yellow part, but it's not the orange part. So red part here. It should be red part here. So take this corner. It has a green part, a yellow part, but not a red part. Again, this corner, it doesn't have an orange part here, and this corner doesn't have a orange part here. So now these are none of them are matching. So when none of them are matching, you can align the cube in any way so that it doesn't make any difference. It doesn't make any difference where you keep this. So do this formula with the before formula I told you. So the formula goes like this again: R U prime L prime U R prime U prime L U. Now you find that only one of them will be matching. After doing that, you find one of them matching to the pieces right here. So do the formula again from keeping this on your right side to your left side, and the formula goes like this: R U prime L prime U R prime U prime L prime U. And one of them is matching. No. So keep this to your right again and do this formula. Now you find that they are matching, all of them are matching now. The next step is permuting the corners, which we will tell you right now. The last one of the cases is when there's none of them are flipped correctly, but they're in the right place, but they're not oriented correctly, so that they are exactly matching with the pieces. So the case is right here. You can see that none of the pieces are exactly matched. They're in the right place, but not oriented properly. So when it comes like this, you can orient the cube however you want. Doesn't matter. So when you have this, so suppose I'm taking this like this. So do the formula: R prime D prime R D R prime D prime R D R prime D prime R D R prime D prime R D. So this is solved. You have to remember, do it till this corner is solved irrespective of this part. You should not care about this piece is right here, only this piece here. So again, it's solved. Do a U move. The formula: D prime R prime D prime R D R prime D prime R D R prime D prime R D R prime D prime R D. Solved. Do a U move. So I'm doing it fast because I know how to do it, but you guys just do it a little slower for you to understand. So just do it: R prime D prime R D R prime D prime R D. It's solved. So this piece, last one, R prime D prime R D, it's not solved. R prime D prime R D. See, now it's solved. And do a U move again, and now the cube is solved. So another case in the last step is when you have two of these solved. In the before case, you have only one of them solved, but now you have two pieces solved like this. So when two pieces are solved, remember, keep both of them to your left side. not like this, not one of them to your left side, both of them. So let's hold block here, this is hold a block, so keep this to your left side. Then do the formula before formula, r prime d prime r d r prime d prime r d r prime d prime r d r prime d prime r d. Now this piece is solved. Do a u move now, r prime d prime r d r prime d prime r d. Now do a u prime move. Now the cube is solved. So there's three cases now. One was one of them solved, when there's two of them solved, another one but none of them are solved. So I told all of three cases now. So there's one more step, this is bonus. Okay, let's do that. Now I'm showing a bonus tip which for solving the last piece for orienting these corners. So this is irrespective of what you want to do. You can do this one or the before one, but you can do for any one you want, it doesn't make a difference. So I feel this is easier for some people and some people say this is hard. So first step is you used to do like keeping this on top, the yellow part on top, and solving this part, but now turn the whole cube 180 degrees so that now the white is on top and the yellow part is on bottom. So again, remember, when doing this step you have to invert the cube. If you don't invert the cube, you won't get it. I say some people don't prefer this method, but I personally feel like it's going to be easier than the before one. So remember to flip this, and this is in the first step like the before one. Find a piece which is exactly matched here, so this piece. So before it's this piece right here, so flip the cube, make sure that this piece is your left again, as in the last step. Make sure this is your left, and you have to do this formula. You remember the formula from the first layer, just r u r prime u prime. This is the same formula here to solve this part. So the formula is r u r prime u prime. It's not solved. R u r prime u prime, and remember you should do till this part is solved. So now it's solved. In the first part I told you that you do a u move, but here you should do a d prime move. You are moving this part, do a d prime move after it's solved. So you should not do a u move, you should do a d prime move. So again you have to do r u r prime u prime. It's not solved. R u r prime u prime. So it's solved. Now do a d prime move. Do again r u r prime u prime, r u r prime u prime, and now finish cube. So d2. When I was solving this cube in the last layer, I used to do the r u r prime part because I hated doing this algorithm d r prime d prime, because you have to move all your fingers like this. But this part I feel like it's easier for me, but it can be different for you as you're learning the cube, how to do the cube right now. So you can put any step you want, and this is nothing else. So thank you.